of major companies that have located to TRIC. He continues now as project manager for the same team as they pursue a new 20,000-acre project in Fernley. So please help me welcome Kris Thompson.
Thank you. Good morning. As you said, my name is Kris Thompson. I'm the project manager for Tahoe Reno Industrial Center. My job is to do government affairs. I do the utilities. I do the infrastructure. I deal with the companies out there. Same thing for our new project we'll talk about later this morning, TRI2. I also work for landscape commercial real estate on the industrial and tech real estate sales side. In that capacity, I wrangle lawyers, escrow officers, surveyors, and just about everybody that's involved in the transaction. So on behalf of our TRI owners, Don Roger Norman and Lance Gilman, and on behalf of Lance Gilman Commercial Real Estate and Donnie Gilman, who is now running Lance Gilman Commercial Real Estate, who's joining us today, thank you for having me. Very excited to be here.
I got you.
Thank you. So here's my agenda today. We're going to talk about the current TRI status. We're going to talk about what we think are the projections for the park in terms of economics. We're going to talk about our view of the future economic growth in Nevada, and I'm going to brief you on our newest project, TRI2. Some of the stuff I'm going to talk about for TRI2 today is the first time that it will be disclosed in public for some of the information. Next slide, please. Thank you. So just kind of a brief reminder of TRI. This was our original footprint. Okay. You can see it's our original footprint, 107,000 acres, about 2/3 of Story County, about 20,000 acres in Lyon County, larger than Reno and Sparks combined. And if you go back in your mind to about 1998, when Roger and Lance purchased this, this was raw desert. We had no infrastructure, no power, no water, no roads, no drainage, no sewer, no nothing. And so how do you turn at some, middle of the desert out in the mountains, really not close to or adjacent to any metro area, how to turn that into the highest profile tech industrial park, the hottest tech industrial park in the United States? And the answer is very simple, and there's no secret here about what our crown jewels are and what makes us so attractive to these companies. And it's speed. Speed is the new gold in this economy for the tech companies and the industrial companies. What Lance and Roger and our legal team and our engineers did, and the Story County elders at the time, who were in charge of a county that was bordering on bankruptcy. Their entire county general fund was about $3.5 million. They didn't have full-time fire. They were using 100,000-mile cars for their little sheriff's department. I mean, they were going to be broken up between Lyon County and Washoe County because they couldn't pay for themselves. So how do you turn raw desert in a bankrupt county into what it is today? And the answer was, number one, we pre-approved the land use. That is, for 99% of the industrial uses, it is pre-approved, no special use permits, number one. Number two, our county guarantees grading permits in 7 days and building permits in 30. So when you come in, you can have your permits done during escrow. You probably heard about, and most people locally have heard the story about Tesla when they came in, and here we are in 2013. It was the 5th year of the Great Recession. We had not sold a property in 5 years since it started in 2008. And Lance gets a call from Tina Ifticker, who was then the economic development officer at the airport. And she said, Lance, Tesla is in the state. And they're down in Las Vegas, and the governor and the legislators are trying to keep him in Las Vegas. That's where all the money is, and all the politicians are. How about you and I split a charter jet send it down to McCarran Airport, hijack the Tesla site selection team, and run them up here for a day to look at STED, which is run by the airport, and TRI. Now, keep in mind, this is year 5. We had not made a sale in 5 years. Lance has been shelling out $250,000 a year out of his own pocket to keep our sales office out on USA Parkway open. It was brutal times for all of us, everybody in this room. It was pretty hard for Lance to cut that check of 10 grand to split that Learjet that we sent down there. But he cut the check, he had the faith. We send the jet down there. The airport folks talk the Tesla site selection crew to get on the plane. And they get Kevin Caskert, who's now running Redwood. You're going to hear about them shortly. But Kevin called Lance and he said, Lance, I'm sorry. Our corporate counsel just said we can't take transportation paid for by someone we might do business with. So I'm sorry, we have to cancel the trip. Lance was gut shot. We were all gut shot. Another 10 grand in marketing down the drain. You know, what's new during the Great Recession? But Kevin called back a couple days later. And he said, Lance, I'm so sorry about that last incident with the plane. We're coming up there next week. We're spending all day in Reno. We're going to visit 10 sites. And I'm going to come out to your place at 4:45 sharp. I'm going to give you 15 minutes. And I've got to catch you a 6 p.m. plane back to Las Vegas. Now, anybody that knows Lance Gilman, our godfather of TRI, he doesn't say hi in 15 minutes, right? He's got to work you a little bit before he gets around to the deal. So Lance is wringing his hands. You know, how are we going to do this? The meeting was a brilliant piece of real estate work, real estate professionalism. So first off, we had everybody in there. We had the county manager, county fire marshal, building department. We had EDON, we had the power company. Everybody sitting around the table waiting for Kevin and his team to get there. And Kevin walked in, and Lance just dispensed with any small talk, which I know was hard for him to do. But he says, Kevin, you've been in 37 states. What is it that you're missing? You have not even signed an LOI, letter of intent. What's the problem here? And Kevin said, well, to be honest, it's scheduling risk. And Lance said, well, what do you mean scheduling risk? And Kevin said, well, for instance, how long would it take to get a grading permit for a 1,000 square foot pad here in TRI? So Lance turned to the building department manager. He opens up his folder. We have the building, we have the grading permit ready to go. Tesla Motors Inc. And the building department manager, Dean Haymore, said, Kevin, here's your permit. You can take it with you today. If you have your grading plans and you pick a site tonight with Lance Gilman, I'll mark it up and we can start digging in the morning and moving that dirt. So that got, Kevin laughed, but the more he thought about it, the better it sounded. So he called, he canceled his flight. He got in Lance's truck and went out there until the sun went down. And Lance, like many of the people in this room, if someone gets in your car and goes out looking at real estate for 3 hours, they're saying yes at some point, right? So Kevin, after that, they ended up buying 3,300 acres. But it's that speed of permitting that is everything. So let's, still not working. There we go. So here's our current status. All the property is sold. The entire 107,000 acres we have sold out. And Donnie just put the last 46-acre piece in contract this week. We have nothing left at TRI. Other developers in the park are now reselling land, but the dynamic is our selling price was between $225 and $250 a square foot for most of the land. The prices are now quadruple or 5 times that. Some of the high-priced retail land is going for $12.50 a square foot, even up to $15 a square foot. The normal industrial land is going for somewhere between $6 and $8.50 a square foot. So what that means for TRI is a lot of the normal industrial uses are really priced out. And that pricing is still attractive to tech companies and high-end manufacturing. Of our original 107,000 acres, we have 70,000 acres right now owned outright by tech companies or tech developers. That is a size 3 times the size of San Francisco. Bloomberg Magazine in 2018 predicted the I-80 corridor, TRI, is going to be the next Silicon Valley, and that has come true. Next slide, if we could. Thank you. So our current status and our projections are this. Right now, we have 150 companies in the park. 30,000 jobs are in the park now, and we know that from the Tesla reports and the traffic counts. So what that means is between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., Monday through Friday, we're the 4th largest metro area in the state. We have a job count with the latest additions of the companies is going to be 38 to 40,000 within 5 years, and it well could go to 50,000 within 10 to 20 years. And here's why. Let's go to the next slide. So the total capital investment in the park right now is 20 to 25 billion. Our annual payroll coming out of the park is $1 billion a year. 85% of that is for the workers that live in Washoe County, Reno, Sparks. So all that payroll is cycling through the grocery stores, gas stations, restaurants, casinos in the Washoe, Reno, Sparks area, and 15% of that's going to the surrounding communities. And in addition, our annual construction contracts right now are another $1 billion annually, and most of that is going to Washoe County contractors of all sorts. And then, of course, on top of that, you can put the lawyers and the engineers and the accountants and all the other professionals that are serviced. Next slide, please. So what that means is that the TRI and Washoe County properties are now virtually absorbed for major housing and large industrial uses, because Nevada is 84% owned by the federal government, right? And so we're hemmed in. All the metro areas are hemmed in by federal property. And of course, that is economically what's sending the home prices up, because there's not enough new home development to keep up with the demand and the payroll that's coming into the area. Nobody knows that better than you guys. And we feel that in the future, the growth has to move eastward out I-80 to Fernley and southeast down USA Parkway to Silver Springs. And we missed a slide. Can you back up? There was a slide in here about, I think it was before the TRI status. Just back it up if you would. Okay, go forward, forward, forward. Oh, right there, that 150, back it up. Right here. So I want to talk about that bullet point there. The reason our job count is going to go from 30,000 to 38 to 40,000 are the newer companies coming in the park. You may have heard of the Tesla truck plant. Elon Musk was up here just like a couple months ago. They had a big event out at the Gigafactory with the governor, all the local dignitaries. He announced that the entire production plant for the new Tesla electric vehicle truck, the semi-truck, is going to be here at the Gigafactory. And the current Gigafactory, I think, is around 2.5 million square feet on the ground on a footprint. It's 3 floors, 70 feet tall. So it's actually 7.5 million square feet of operating space. That building is going to be expanded to accommodate this electric vehicle truck plant. They have committed to the state to get their tax abatement that they will have 3,000 jobs minimum and a $3.5 billion capital investment. That's essentially what they promised for the original Gigafactory, and the actual numbers were double or triple that. They promised 3,500 jobs, and I think their job count now is like 11 or 12,000 on site. They promised $3.5 billion the first time around, and the capital investment I think is now $7.5 billion. So we think that Tesla truck plant is going to be far bigger than the commitment they made to the government. Probably around another 5,000 or 6,000 jobs, probably another $6 or $7 billion in capital investment. The second company that is cool that's coming in the park is Redwood Materials. So going back to that story about Tesla and Kevin Kassaker, the site selection manager, and he's the guy also that built the Gigafactory that we dealt with. Kevin and J.B. Straubel, senior people at Tesla, had retired a few years ago from Tesla. They stayed retired for maybe a month, and they decided to get back into the industry, this time doing battery recycling technology and battery parts manufacturing. And this is so cool for the United States and for all of us. Right now, if you want parts made for your electric vehicle battery, like coils and foil and the special things that go into the electric vehicle batteries, we get the raw material from here or Canada or Central America. It's shipped to Asia, fabricated in Asia, and then sent back here for assembly, right? This is the first battery materials manufacturing facility in the United States ever. So this is huge strategically. Donnie and I went out for a private briefing last year with Kevin, and they're not saying this publicly, but I'm just telling you, their projections are $2 billion in capital investment and a campus of 2,000 more jobs. And they've had their abatements approved by the state government as well. And last, I can't say much about this other than the Big M is now in the park. It's not public. You probably heard that Microsoft bought land in Silver Springs, and all I can say is there's a company starting with a Big M that is also now in TRI. So that's why we think that job count, we're confident that job count is going to be 38 to 40,000, and it'll keep growing. We think between the 10 and 20 year mark, we're going to be equal to Carson City in size between Monday and Friday of the work week. Okay, let's roll forward. If we could on the slides. So we talked about growth.